All right, motherfucker! I swear to God, I swear to God. All right,
I'm done. I'm
three,
done.
2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to StraightA. Dawson here.
Now we got to restart.
No, he does.
We're keeping it
Perfect.
in. Keeping it in.
I'm Shu.
I'm Trathan.
I'm Ben.
And we are here with our NFL Week 2 predictions. So, probably around on screen right now, you're probably going to be seeing our records for so far. As you see, in first place, we have Trathan 10-6. Second place will be me at 9-7. Ben is taking up third place at a not healthy 7-9. And then Shu, with his bad takes from last week, got him in a punishable 6-10. And probably either on another screen or the same graphic, you're going to see that actually we're kind of joining the YouTube community a little bit. I looked at other predictions going on this week, and I looked at how many other people's records went. So some notable people like Wyatt's World, Tom Grossi. I'll put their links in the description, but you probably already know who they are. Kevin Walsh, TPS, and the betting line are also all included into the leaderboard, just for nice and adding some flamboyancy rather than just us four. So we're kind of ranking low compared to some of them, with Wyatt's World and Kevin Walsh at 12-4, and Tom Grossi right at the 8-8 line, and then TPS at 7-9. The betting line will also be included just as a nice little control element, and it's currently at 8-8. Who would have thought that Vegas would be 8-8 right now based on their bets? Who knows? Uh, there you go. See, jokes. But we will be giving our week 2 predictions and seeing how well we do. I'm predicting that Shu goes probably 6 wins, 10 losses again this week. Uh, but we'll kick it off, and what we'll do is I'll say the lineup, and then I'll go first, then Shu, then Trathan, then Ben, and that's how we'll go from here on out. So first up is Vikings at Eagles. Man, this is an easy game, just simple to the point. Eagles are going to take this. Eagles, I feel like, are going to stay strong. They're in Philadelphia. The Vikings didn't look very good. The Eagles, I think, looked at least solid last week and will only go up from here.
Yeah, Eagles over Vikings. I still think the Eagles are a strong team, and I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to step up and take them down this week.
I agree. I think Jalen Hurts, he didn't do great last week. I think he comes in and does what he normally does, and that's perform well, especially against the subpar Viking defense. I think the Eagles take this one.
Yeah. I think I like Trathan's take. I think the O line is going to be able to hold up a little bit better this week. I think Jalen is going to have a little bit more time in the pocket, and he's going to find some more guys open than he did this past week.
Excellent. Pretty easy game there. I think another a very interesting game for the week. I think very two middle tier teams of Packers at Falcons is up next. So Ryan, you want to take us off on that?
Yeah, I think the Falcons take this one. I think their backfield is, like I said in the last video, it's elite. I don't think the Packers are going to be able to stop both of them, even if they can shut down Bijan. You got Algier. Shut down Algier. You got Bijan. So I think that run game is really going to take down the Packers this week. I'll take the Falcons.
I disagree. I think the Packers. We saw what Jordan Love could do last week. I think the Packers win this one, and I think it's a pretty handy win. I don't think Desmond Ritter, like I said last week, is the guy. Now he did prove me wrong last week against the Panthers, but I don't see the Falcons beating the Packers here.
I find it very interesting that Atlanta is the favorite by 1.5 in this game. I find that to be very interesting at this moment. I don't see why they would be. I didn't think Desmond Ritter looked that amazing. His yards per pass were just not very good. It seemed like there were a lot of guys that got open that he did not find, such as Kyle Pitts. I know that clip is circulating around where he just absolutely torched Jeremy Chin and made him do a tumble. Um, their rush D is not as strong. I feel like the Packers won't really need to utilize that. I think they're just going to be doing a lot of screens out to Aaron Jones, and Jordan Love really did well finding dubs this last game, and hopefully with Christian Watson coming back, I don't see that there's a way that Atlanta's defense is going to stop them. I think Green Bay takes this by a score or two.
So This was one of the hardest games for me to predict. There's actually a lot of really low key hard games week 2 to predict. Y'all doubted the Falcons last week. I didn't. I'm not doubting them again. The secondary, like Shu said, is gonna kind of wake up Jordan Love a little bit. I don't think Jordan Love's gonna get that 38 points he did last week. It's gonna be more in the 20s. And I think with the run game, it'll be like a 24-21 game with the Falcons second at home. I don't think the Packers are going to do bad this season. I just think the Falcons are going to show out. I just think they have the momentum on their side. It's at home. I just have a slightly favored for them to win. I actually on my screen I have Green Bay favored to win 51 to 49%. But obviously the betting sites are probably so close they're probably kind of mix and mingling a little bit. So kind of interesting in that regard. But I'm taking the Falcons to win this one. Moving on, we have a divisional game with the AFC South, with the Colts going to Houston to take on the Texans. Trayton, you want to kick us off?
So with this being the AFC South matchup, the AFC South, other than the Jags, is a dumpster fire. Titans, Colts, Texans, all complete trash, and that's coming from a Titans fan. But this is a matchup between two rookie quarterbacks. It'll be the first, I think, the first matchup of the year between rookie quarterbacks. And I think the Colts got it. I'm not high on Anthony Richardson, but I'm also not high on C.J. Stroud. And I think the Colts take this one. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. But I think the Colts have it by 3 points or 4 points.
I think the Texans will take this one, actually. I'm going to disagree. I like CJ Stroud and his O line a little bit better against this front seven than I did against the Ravens front seven. They gave them a lot of trouble. Their secondary really locked guys up, but I think CJ Stroud will be able to find Nico Collins a couple more times this game. Maybe he finds Nate Dell a time or two for a touchdown. And the secondary for Houston is pretty good. I think we've seen that they're pretty good. And the pass rush from them, they were able to sack the Ravens multiple times. Will Anderson is legit, and I think that if they can do that to the Ravens in the backfield, they are most certainly going to do it to Anthony Richardson.
I do appreciate that take. I was actually tempted to take the Texans here as a kind of an upset in one of their early victories. After seeing him perform last week, I just don't think their offense has the capability of putting up the points Colts do. The Colts, I feel like, can put up to that 20-point range at least. And I think even against maybe the defensive line of the Texans, who maybe put a little bit more pressure, I still think Anthony Richardson does well. I think he's not going to do – I don't think it's going to be a great game from either of these quarterbacks, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be, like Trayton said, pretty low scoring, kind of more of a slugfest. But I think the Colts have more a capable overall team, as well as I think their defense can kind of shut down the Texans and C.J. Stroud a little bit more. I think C.J. Stroud last week of the quarterbacks looked the worst. He just didn't look comfortable. He did fine, but like he kind of on the lower end for me. So I'm easily taking the Colts here.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with taking the Colts. I don't know what it is, but I have faith in the Colts to take it on the Texans. But really quickly, to just relate back to fantasy really quick, little fun tidbit from me. The Falcons-Packers game will hold two of my running backs this week because I have Aaron Jones and also Bijan in my starting lineup.
So hopefully it's run.
So I'm hoping for some really bad rush defense this week out of both teams, and it just to be a ground and pound run fest.
All right.
Regardless of your running backs, I still think you're going to get crapped on just like you did last week.
Rip.
Okay. I mean, I'm playing Will's team, and he's not the most fantasy knowledgeable. So
That's true.
We'll see. He did put in Ayuk this week, though. He missed out on him last week. I think that taught him a lesson. So I might lose this week too. We'll see.
I don't think Ayuk gets 30 points again. I don't think this season. Beside the point. Moving on to Seattle Seahawks taking on the Detroit Lions, now at home, coming home to probably a roaring crowd after their big win. Ben, who do you got? You're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, Ben.
You're muted, Ben. Ben, you're muted.
Yeah. All right, we'll start that again.
We're not cutting that, by the way.
Right. I was looking at my picks. I'm trying to make my picks simultaneously with our league as I'm making these. This is a very interesting game. The Lions just came off a big win against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. C.J. Gardner Johnson just got all of the freaking Lions fans in the world to go buy a blue ski mask and show up at home to wear that junk this week. I really don't see how the Seahawks get out of this unless Geno has a great day throwing that ball. He had a pretty good day last week, um, despite the pass rush from Aaron Donald and the Rams, but I don't think it's going to be good enough this week either. I'm going to take the Lions at home.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think it's pretty easy for me to say the Lions. It's yeah, maybe it'd be more tempting if the Seahawks showed more what they were last year. I think this has had potential to be a higher scoring game, but that's only if Geno can get his act together. He has the weapons there to do it, and I think Jared Goff has proven before last season that the Lions are able to put up 30 plus points. Um, Hopefully we see a higher scoring game. Hopefully we see a resurgence in the Seahawks offense and just overall team in general. Because I don't want to see them go 0-2 or 0-3 and 0-4. Because I like them, but I think it's pretty hard not to take the Detroit Lions at home in the first home game, especially after last week's win. Granted, it's us building it up again, going from the Chiefs are at Arrowhead. They had the win locked, but I feel like the Lions have to win this game, almost for like
Yeah,
morale.
I'm taking Lions over Seahawks. I mean, like everyone's been saying, they're at home. They just beat the Chiefs. I think the crowd's really into it, and the Seahawks don't stand a chance this week.
I completely agree. I'm on the Lions bandwagon all the way. It's hard to hate a team like the Lions that have been historically bad, and that's not just the last 10 years like it is with some teams. Like they've historically trash. Last year's the Seahawks Lions game was phenomenal. It was a shootout. It was 48-45. I don't think it'll be like that this time. I think it'll be a mid-scoring game, probably 24-20, something like that. But I think the Lions take it. I don't think Geno Smith is the same Geno we saw last year. I don't like the Seahawks. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're a mid team in a mediocre division. And so I'm taking the Lions all day.
All right, awesome, all unanimous. We're pretty much agreeing on most of these right now. Well, I say most of these, but we had Ben disagree with the Texans last time, so never mind.
I need you guys to start making the opposite pick of me so I can come back in the league, please.
Well, next up is the Chargers at Titans. Man,
I think I should just make the opposite pick of you so I can get further ahead in the league.
Hey, you risk it if you want to.
Hey, I'm not big braining this. I'm just going straight with what picks are good for me. To be honest with you, honestly, it seems like Trace and I, last week too. If you noticed it, we were on the same wavelength a little bit. We disagreed that the Bills and Jets, but he got me there. So, I'm just saying. Los Angeles Chargers facing off against Tennessee Titans. I'm sorry, I'm not going to entertain this. I can much more likely see the Titans go 0-2 than the Chargers go 0-2. I don't even know what to say. Titans look so pitiful last week. I don't see their offense doing as well, even against a weaker Chargers defense. I think it's going to be run heavy. I think it's going to be really focused on Austin Eckler versus Derrick Henry. I think that will be kind of fun. I think it'll be a more pass in terms of like chuck down passes to them and see how much they can get out of it. But otherwise, Chargers all the way.
Yep, Chargers all the way. Like Dawson said, I don't think the Titans are really worth too much at this point. So, yeah, Chargers, easy.
Oh, I love Justin Herbert. I love the Chargers. The Titans are my team, and for that reason, I don't know what it is. I literally had the Chargers locked in, and I was like, you know what? I'm feeling an upset this week. I'm going Titans all day. I think the Titans beat the Chargers. I think the Chargers were stunned last week, and I think the Titans do it at home. I think they're going into Nissan Stadium, and I think it's a pretty rough crowd there. So I believe in my Titans.
I think Justin Herbert is one of the top 7, if not higher, quarterbacks in the league. He has an amazing arm talent, and his O line is good whenever they call the correct plays. Brandon Staley is the defensive guru. I know he hopes to change or turn it around this week against the Titans. but I don't believe he's going to. I think Austin Eckler is going to try and get 30 carries again this game. That's not going to work. The Titans' run defense is one of the best in the league, whether people believe it or not. They get pressure on the quarterback, rushing 3 to 4 guys on the snap. I think that it's going to be a tough game for Austin Eckler, and they're going to force Herbert to throw the ball. And if the correct defensive coverage packages are assigned, Herbert's not going to have any luck because he evidently showed he cannot make any pass protection for himself. So, I think the Titans are going to get through this one. Tannehill declined to answer questions about Week One's struggles. He's confident. He's ready to go. I think this is going to be a turning of the tide for the Titans.
Dang. Wow. Actual split. I did not expect that to be a 2-2 split on this one, to be honest with you. Either way, we push on and go to Buffalo for the Vegas Raiders to visit the Buffalo Bills. I know Bills looked awful week 1, but I have confidence in Josh Allen. He's not going to just keep on racking up losses. The Raiders aren't going to keep on racking up wins. The Buffalo Bills have to take it. Oh, I guess it was supposed to be Shoe first this time, huh? Oh well.
You're good.
I revealed mine. Sorry. Bills, Shoe, take it away.
You said everything I was going to say, Bills.
Gosh dang it.
I agree. I don't think there's much to talk about. I think the Raiders got lucky last week. I think the Bills were unlucky last week. Even though, the Jets, I knew the Jets were going to win. But, yeah, I got the Bills in this one, and I don't think it's close. I think if there was a game to, call a blowout this week, looking at the games, I honestly think it's this one. I think the Bills blow out the Raiders.
Dang.
I don't know that the Bills are going to blow out the Raiders, considering these are 2 NFL quality teams. But I probably am going to have to make
Giants.
this decision unanimous and go with the Bills. I think they will probably take this game by about 10 points, just like the spread says. I think it's going to be a handy win for Josh Allen. They're going to get back on track.
All right. Simple to the point. Shu, I'll let you kick off this one. Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, taking the Chiefs. I think week 1 was really that Super Bowl fatigue, and now they're going in against Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, and it's just Chiefs are taking this one. I don't see it going the other way at all.
I agree. I think if you look at Patrick Mahomes' history, he always does struggle early on in the season, especially week 1. I think he turns that around with Travis Kelce and Chris Jones coming back. They have something to look forward to down in Jacksonville, and I think that thing is a W.
The NFL football doctor, the guy who's a sports doctor on Twitter this week, he's an actual doctor. He's not just
Your Twitter doctor's fake.
But he saw the video of Travis Kelce getting blood pulled from his knee, and he said if that is actually how much blood came out of his knee, he is not going to be playing this week, without a doubt. So with that being said, I know Chris Jones is coming back, but I'm taking the Chiefs getting upset by Jacksonville. I think that Trevor Lawrence is going to come in and dice up that defense, and with Patrick Mahomes still throwing to only Kadarius Toney, I think that it's going to be ugly. I think the Jags get this by a score.
Simple and to the point. So I kind of did some research before this too, and I verified the 1 year I was worried about. 2020, the Chiefs went 3-0 in their first 3 games. 2021, they went 1-2 in their first 3 games. 2022, they went 2-1. I'm sorry, boys. It's looking like they're on a trend to go 0-3. I'm going with Ben here and taking the Jags to upset them at Jacksonville. I think this was the game I originally had them being upset by, and I'm not changing my mind about it. Jacksonville got beat in the playoffs by the Chiefs. It's not happening in Jacksonville. Simple and to the point. Trevor Lawrence is going to show out. I think this could be a good game if Trevor. I honestly did this with Travis Kelce in mind to be in that game, and I think it's again kind of that storyline in my head. I can build it where Chiefs keep on losing and losing. All of a sudden, they have to rise up again and make the wild card, or barely beat the rest of the division. I think I like that story because the Chiefs are such a dominant team, but they also have really bad Super Bowl. Like once they're in the Super Bowl, they really do bad the next like beginning of the season. Taking the Jags, taking over the Chiefs here. Next up will be the Baltimore Ravens going to Cincinnati to take on Joe Burr and his hopefully comeback game. Trayton, what do you got for us in the year of the Bengals?
Like I said, in the original videos, it's the year of the Bengal. Um, had Joe Burrow at MVP, did not play MVP football last week. Jamar Chase had him as Offensive Player of the Year. He definitely couldn't have played Offensive Player of the Year material with how bad Joe Burrow did. I think Joe Burrow's pissed off, and I think the Ravens are looking mighty good for some revenge. I think the Bengals beat the Ravens.
All right, I guess that's me. I will say that the Bengals will probably take this game. I think the perennial matchup that we're really looking to see is the Bengals offense versus that Ravens defense, especially the pass rush. My gosh, they've got such a good defense. But I think I just think that Joe Burrow's going to get back on track. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are both going to have great games. Joe Mixon is probably not going to have as great of a game. I think that the passing attack is going to get it done.
Simple to the point. Oh wait, so you said the Ravens? There. You said the Ravens?
No, he said Bengals.
Bengals.
Oh, you said the Bengals.
Said
Oh,
Bengals.
okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I thought I misheard there, or I thought I heard something else, but I misheard. Okay. No, I agree. I agree with the everybody. It's what they've said so far. Bengals taking this. I do think it's gonna be a rougher game. I think the Bengals are gonna have a season where it's kind of they rise up. They're kind of like look bad really in week 1. They're not gonna look great in week 2, but because it's a tough matchup. Ravens are gonna give them a run for their money, but I don't see the Ravens offense really doing too much. Lamar didn't look like Lamar, and I feel like the Bengals they know how to play against the Ravens. They know how Lamar works, and they're in Cincinnati. Give the slight edge to Cincinnati, but it'll be kind of a tougher game. It won't be like a very high scoring game. I bet this is gonna be an under game type game. I'm gonna write that down too.
Love the picks, boys, but disagree.
Good.
I think that both quarterbacks were bad last week compared to what they usually are. Not, I mean, well, they were both pretty bad last week. And I think they're both coming out for revenge this week. But I'm taking Lamar and the Ravens to take down the Bengals this week. I don't know what it is, but yeah, Ravens over Bengals this week. That's gonna be my one game up on you guys. I believe it.
What I'm hearing is I'm going to go up even further on Shu.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. But
What
still
sound?
sticking with the Ravens. Come on.
It's not bad. It's not a bad pick though. I'm not gonna say it's a bad pick. It's gonna be a closer game. I could see.
If there's a game he should hedge his bets on, it's probably that one.
100%. Divisional game especially is where you can kind of get those a little bit more.
Yeah.
But next up, a non-divisional game. The Chicago Bears going to Tampa Bay and taking on the 1-0 Buccaneers. Meanwhile, the Bears are 0-1. Ben, what are your thoughts?
I think that the Bears are one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think the Bucks coming into this season are also one of the worst teams in the NFL. But I think out of the two, I would rather place my bets on the Buccaneers due to that passing attack. I think they're going to get away from the Bears. I just don't see Justin Fields having a productive day. He looked pretty pitiful against the Packers. Even whenever he wasn't pressured, he was making bad decisions, throwing it into tough coverage and giving the ball up, not protecting it. I think that is probably going to continue this week. I would expect the Bucks to take this one fairly easily.
So, Ben, we actually have a complete disagreement with you in that regard. I think my initial thought was Baker Mayfield has a tendency to give me hope and then immediately tear it down. And so I wanted to pick Tampa Bay, but I already am hopeful about Baker since he did all right last week. And so I expect him to tear me down again. My thought process, the actual logical one, rather than just me being, spiteful to Baker Mayfield because he always crushes my heart when I most dream of him. Is that the Bears and Tampa Bay both scored 20 points last week. Bears played against a tougher defense than Tampa Bay did. I think the Bears are just, while they're not great, I don't think either team's offense is great. I just kind of what my thought was, flip a coin. It's at Tampa Bay, but I don't know if that really matters for this game. I believe the Bears will kind of get one of their early victories. I don't know how many more victories they're really going to get, but if they're going to get one, it's going to be against Tampa Bay.
I'm just going to hit the rewind button for a second and just focus on Dawson saying he dreams of Baker Mayfield and leave it at that. And
That's a
then
man.
going into the week, this may be just like cherished memory of mine, but the first football game I ever went to was actually at the Buccaneers Stadium. So I'm taking the Bucs over the Bears. Like I said I think it was the last video, Baker's coming out with a fire this year that I don't think the Bears are going to be able to put out.
And we got one guy going off of analytics and Ben. We got one guy going off of he dreams of Baker Mayfield, and another going off of he went to Tampa Bay Stadium for his first NFL game. So with that being said, I think it's Bucks all day. I think the Bears are piss poor. I think they're horrible. They're not the worst team in the NFL. That goes to the Cardinals. But I think they're back there. And as we saw last week, despite all the crap we've seen preseason and OTAs from Baker Mayfield, by God, that man can still perform. And I think he performs again. Bucks on top.
Just saying, dreams come true. So I'm probably going to lose this week is really what I'm saying, judging by it. Next up, I'll quickly escape this conversation. San Francisco 49ers going to the Los Angeles Rams. Rams looked good last week. I'm not going to lie. It was very promising to see them do as well as they did. And I still think they're going to show shine against the 49ers. I can't see the 49ers lose right now. Honestly, if you put them against any team this week, I'd probably take the 49ers hands down, almost without any, as long as there's no injury or anything like that. I'd take the 49ers over anybody this week. Brock Purdy playing as well as he did. That team's offense looking so explosive. They could have scored way more points if they just weren't, trying to run out the clock and just basically keep the Steelers back, because they had that game won by the start of the second half, basically. So I'm taking the 49ers. There's no doubt in my mind about that one. The Rams, I think, I don't know what the spread is right now. I think it's actually decently closer than some people probably would want to put, but it could be a closer game with the Rams doing as well as they did on offense. But, man, that 49ers defense, too, is just going to be hard to really get through.
Yeah, I'm going with Brock Purdy this week. Maybe a fantasy hopeful type of pickup thing since I just picked him up. But Lamar did not show me last week that he had it. So for fantasy, I'm starting Brock Purdy. And with that, I'm going with the 49ers over the Rams in Los Angeles.
So I'm looking at it on our pick'em board, and right now the 49ers, according to them, are the 6.5 point favorites. And I completely agree. I think the Rams, they did look good last week. Are they actually good? I don't think so. So I'm going for the 49ers.
Over the course of time, whenever Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay have faced each other in the 49ers versus Rams matchup, it's kind of like something I mentioned earlier today about Joe Burrow and the Bengals versus the Browns. Rams cannot ever seem to beat the 49ers except for in the one NFC championship where the 49ers had beat them twice before already that season. I don't think anything changes. I think the 49ers are going to get it again. And for my fellow Brandon Ayuk starters out there in fantasy, let's get another 30-point game out of him.
And this has been a public service announcement with Ben. All right, moving on to, I think, what was not originally going to be an interesting game, but now has, since last week, turned into an interesting game. The New York Giants going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, both 0-1 teams. Man, Ryan, oh gosh, no, the whole things are messed up now. All right, Ryan, you start us off, and Trayton, you start us off.
Okay.
We're going clockwise.
No,
Fuck you.
Ryan starts us off.
Okay, sure. We'll go Ryan first.
This is my call for toilet bowl this week. Neither of these teams are good, but I'm still taking the Giants over the Cardinals with that 5.5-point spread. I just don't think the Cardinals have it in them.
I agree. I love Josh Dobbs. He did fumble 3 times last week. Luckily, they recovered one of them, but the other 2 weren't. He didn't do bad as far as throwing the ball goes, but his offensive line didn't do much to help him out. As far as the fumbles go, at least. And I gotta take the Giants. I was high on the Giants in the preseason after making the playoffs last year. They had re-signed Daniel Jones, franchise tag Saquon, and I think that was just a piss poor performance last week. And I think they're gonna want to actually show that hey, we're still the same team, if not better than last year. So I got Giants.
Yeah, I don't see how the Cardinals are going to beat anyone. If they do beat someone this year, everyone is going to be wrong. I don't know how you could expect them to win a single game. They are just pitiful. Giants easily.
No, very very logical thoughts. I think the Giants are they're kind of embarrassed from last week. They're kind of getting shaky knees. They're like, okay, we got to do something. Should be an easy victory going to Arizona. Except when Dawson does predict the Arizona Cardinals to win this week and actually proves you wrong, Ben, that the Cardinals can be predicted to win, because I think the Cardinals looked better last week, having better momentum, and I think they have more confidence in their defense against the offense. The Giants are shaky. Honestly, this is the one game I've decided I'm going to go a couple games because, hey, half the games last week were upsets. Roughly half of them are going to be this week. If there's going to be an upset this week, and also because I don't want to say the Commanders are upsetting the Denver Broncos, that's also a biasy there. The Cardinals are going to upset the Giants this week. 100% confirmed. Going to happen. They'll cover the spread because they're going to win the spread. Boom.
Don't hammer that spread. Do not hammer.
I'm hammering that spread. Moving on to the New York Jets taking on the Dallas Cowboys. After the Dallas Cowboys come off a really explosive defensive game, and Jets struggling to find out who they are. Trathan, what are your thoughts?
This is a tough one. If the Jets had Aaron Rodgers, but they don't, so I'm taking the Cowboys. I was really high on the Jets in the preseason, had them finishing second in the NFC or AFC East, and all my hopes of them beating the Bills and showing everyone that the Bills were crap, or as far as the standings go at the end of the season, they actually did beat the Bills. But as far as it goes, beating them in the standings at the end of the season, I think all those hopes were dashed with the loss of Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Zach Wilson is prepared to endure a whole season. And I still think Aaron Rodgers will be in his corner, though, so I think he'll get better as the season progresses. But the season hasn't progressed yet, so Cowboys on top.
I don't see how the Jets offense is going to be able to get past that Dallas defense. It's going to have to be on the ground with Breece Hall making some magic happen, Dalvin Cook getting some good moves out there. I think they can put up some points rushing around the outside on the ground if that's what they plan to do. But I think that it's going to be a very defensive showdown. It's going to be a low-scoring game. The Jets' defense is very good too, and I don't think that Dak Prescott is going to just annihilate them by any certain means. But I do think they do enough to take down the Jets. I've got Dallas.
Everybody's already said it. I'm not going to doubt Dallas after their really big win. Again, I think there's not many. Obviously, I think I take the 49ers over the Cowboys if they played this week, but there's not many other teams I'd take over the Cowboys, period, after a big win like that. Cowboys all the way.
As far as me, I think it's going to be a really defensive game after watching last week. I think the Jets defense did really well. I already mentioned the 3 picks by the one player for that $250,000 bonus. Yeah, whatever. Jets suck. Patriots over the Jets every day. But
I thought you said Patriots.
I'm taking the Jets this week. I feel like They have some confidence. Probably going to be my big loss this week. Just not going to make me happy. But, just think Dallas went out really strong last week, but I don't think their offense showed very much power. I think it was more their defense. But at the same time, Zach Wilson is now the quarterback, but Zach Wilson was the quarterback last week for the Jets. I mean, you can say Rodgers started the game, but 4 plays into the game, Rodgers was no longer in that game. So it was Zach Wilson's game. I take the Jets over the Cowboys this week.
He said big loss this week, like he didn't go 6-10 last week.
No. I feel like at the end of the season, here's my prediction. I'm going to have a clip of Gerb saying that and him being just way down and me being way up above him.
Gerb actually had his only 10 wins this season the first week.
Yeah, every pick that I pick from now on is just going to be a loss.
Well, let's hope now. We picked a lot of the same this week, so I kind of need those wins too.
Moving on, we got the Washington Commanders going against the Denver Broncos at Mile High. Thank you very much. Ben, what are your thoughts?
These are two teams that I did not get to watch during the first week of the season. Two of the only teams I didn't really get to watch and see how the performance looked, how the eye test looked, those sorts of things. Looking at them on paper, looking at the stats, I don't think that the Commanders' offense did very well against the Cardinals' defense that they should have done very well against. I will say that they did have Budda Baker out there making big plays for him. Budda is a very top of the tiers safety in this league. I still think that the defense is going to be enough for the Broncos to hold them down. I don't think the Commanders are going to get it together on offense. I think Sean Payton is going to get his first win this week.
Simple phrase is all I'm going to say. Broncos country. Let's ride.
Who would have guessed?
Don't
Dawson.
say that again.
You need a soundbite.
After saying that, I also take the Broncos because, Broncos country. Let's ride.
I completely agree. I think the Commanders got a lucky win. Like I don't know how you could say that when you're versing a team like the Cardinals, but they did in fact get a lucky win last week. I could have easily went the other way. And so with that being said, I'm not gonna say it, but Broncos win.
Y'all want to know a fun fact? Oh, sorry.
Not particular, but I have a feeling you're gonna tell us.
Broncos are the first team that all 4 of us did unanimously 2 weeks in a row. There's no
You
other.
sure?
100%. Just checked. Steelers.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because remember, I picked a lot of bad picks last week.
Yep. Ben. Ben started us off, so we're good there. Yeah, but I just checked because the Eagles. Ryan picked the Patriots. The 49ers. 2 people picked the Steelers. Yeah, and then we have no other unanimous ones this week except for the Lions, but we all picked the Chiefs. So, say as you will. Broncos country. Moving on to the Dolphins at Patriots, divisional game, exciting game. I think it's high defense versus a very strong very strong offense versus very strong defense. Though I think that the Patriots' strength is in its defensive line, not as much in its secondary. I'm going to go with the Dolphins here. You can't put up 466 yards in the air and not try to repeat that, and hopefully they do repeat that. Now, granted, it's a divisional game. It's in New England. I could see this being like one of those tougher games for the Dolphins to really kind of eke out a victory. But, man, with that much momentum, I can't bet against them.
Sure, it's going to be a huge shock, guys. Patriots all the way. I said it in, I think, the first video of the year. Christian Gonzalez is going to go down there, and he's going to shut down one of their receivers. And I don't think the Dolphins are making it out of there this week with a win.
Insert clip of Christian Gonzalez getting torched.
I don't think that's going to happen. Defensive Rookie of the Year, you mean?
Sorry, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Christian Gonzalez getting torched.
Hey, I'll take it. It's still Defensive Rookie of the Year. But yeah, I don't think the Dolphins go into Gillette and come out with a win. I think the Patriots get their first win of the year and, tie up that standings with the Dolphins at 1-1.
I there's no scenario I see with the Patriots coming out and winning. Uh, I think Tyreek Hill put up 215 yards last week. By God, he's going to put up 315 this week. Miami all day.
Yeah, the Patriots looked very good on the defensive front seven end against the Eagles this past week, and that's a really good thing for them considering the Eagles have one of the top O lines in the entire league. I think they're going to get a bunch of pressure on Tua this week. Um, However, I think that Tua is going to be able to get away from him with the short game. Uh, Waddle, Hill, Carcroft, even on those short routes. I think that he's going to find guys open. He spread the ball very well last week. I think he manages to do that again this week. They're going to get a win.
There you go. Look at that. Moving on, New Orleans taking on the Carolina Panthers. Honestly, you could flip a coin, but Shu, I believe, is starting us off out here. But he's currently he's hanging on. So New Orleans at Carolina.
Oh, I'm taking the Saints over the Panthers. That's just gonna leave it at that. I mean, it's one of those close games where I'm not really sure which way it's gonna go, but I just kind of got to go with the betting odds and take the Saints in that one.
I completely agree. Saints over Panthers. There's not really much I can talk about. Bryce Young didn't look great last year. I think he'll develop as the season goes on. But like I said earlier, the season has not gone on yet. So Saints over Panthers.
Last week, Derek Carr had a lot of issues against the Titans. He did not do very well. That would lead you to think that this Saints offense is just not very good. However, the Panthers defense has a lot of trouble with their secondary right now with J.C. Horn going down. Chris Olave has started off the season pretty hot. Michael Thomas came back and had a good game last week. And even Jamal Williams had some good rushes, had some involvement in the passing game. I would like to see the Saints put up a bunch of points this week, and I think it's going to happen. I don't think Carolina is going to be able to put up as many points. I just don't see them having the attack, the ability to really come back against the Saints. If they didn't do well against the Atlanta secondary, I don't think they'll do much better against the Saints secondary. So I'll take the Saints in this one.
Yep, I completely agree. Unanimous decision here for the Saints. Kind of the only thing I want to touch on is I think Derek Carr. I think we saw a hint of it in the last quarter of the game that I think he's starting to figure out how the team scheme works. And against the Panthers again, I think that it's going to be a fun game for the Saints to watch it on the Saints side. I don't know how the Panthers will perform necessarily, but the Saints are going to look good this game, I think, and give them the win. Then we have the final game of the week. We got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ben, why don't you take us off here? Wait, it was supposed to be Trey? Ben, whatever. Ben, you go first.
Ooh, well, looking at these two teams, one came off a very strong win last week, one came off a very bad loss last week. I think that the outcomes of those games were a little misleading, but the Pittsburgh O-line did not protect Kenny Pickett very well. Kenny Pickett made some very, very bad decisions last week. While Deshaun Watson didn't look his best, as that clip came out of that really bad interception that he let off to the Bengals defense, I still think the Browns are going to come in and turn the tide for themselves. They've been consistently losing to the Steelers for a little while now, but I think that changes now. I think the Browns are going to come in here, start off 2-0, get this thing rolling.
I agree. I'm going with the Browns. Honestly, it's just because I think the Browns defense is a lot for Kenny Pickett and the O-line to handle. Now, granted, I think the Steelers defense is a lot for the Browns O-line to handle, but I think the Browns can handle it better than the Steelers can. And Deshaun Watson, say what you will about him as his performance right now, he looks like he's still in the NFL headspace. He still looks like he's calm and collected. He's not worried. So I don't see him panicking as much as I see Kenny Pickett panicking. And again, I think we saw some sparks from Deshaun Watson. I think we had a lower passing game last week. I think we see some better of it this week from both sides even. but I'm giving the edge to the Browns. Take home a victory against the Steelers, going 2-0.
All right, so this is week 2 of me taking the Steelers over the Browns. And I'm just gonna point it out. You can go back to the last video because I just fact checked myself. Last week, does anyone else recall how many sacks I said TJ Watt would get? And how many did he get this week? Or last week? He got 3. I'm saying 5 this week. He's taken down the quarterback 5 times. 5. He's on his way to that sack record. He's already got 3 out of 22. He's going to make it 8 out of 22 after this week.
Why don't you just say 3 again? Why don't you just, that's already risky enough. I'm not going to put a parlay on
5. 5.
Well, I don't even know how to follow up after that. No, Browns on top. I think TJ Watt has 1 sack. I think Deshaun Watson only gets sacked 3 times. Yeah, I think the Browns win. I think it's probably about 7 to 10 points. I think Browns. I don't want to say have an easy game because I think it'll be. There'll be a lot of punts this game, but I think the Browns win it.
There we go. Cool. That concludes our NFL Week 2 predictions. Lots of bold takes from, I think, all 4 people put in a nice little bold take there. We'll see which ones pan out. Probably mine, because I'm the smartest here, of course. I want to see the reactions over there.
That's what the standings say, doesn't it?
It says I'm the second smartest.
Yeah, not the smartest.
That's true. But any final thoughts from you guys? Nope.
TJ Watt, 5 sacks.
Nope. I'm sure Ben's eager to get going. I know he's got class in 18 minutes, so we'll end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Which take did you like the best? Leave your comments down below, and see you guys later. StraightA Dawson out.